You don't have to run a marathon. You don't even have to run a half marathon if you don't have the time cushion. Put in a good 5K and a 10K program, which can fit into that 1 hour training. And if done rightly, even that will excite you, in many ways. If you want to do like a full marathon or a half marathon, find the time of the year where, your work is not busy, family, is cooperating with you. If your work and family does not allow you to do those things, then there is no point. Kind of depression eating, a lot of emotional trauma that I went through, so on and so forth. I took it all out on food because food was my pleasure point, because I was not really happy with the kind of work I was doing, and other aspects also on life had gone for a toss. So I was at a point where I'll eat to death. That was my motto.
Welcome to the Working Athlete podcast, Shreyas. So for the audience, just introducing Shreyas. He started out as a typical working athlete, working in a corporate field, and started running. And he later on made a transition into coaching a lot of working athletes. Now, he's still a working athlete in the sense that he started an organization, and he works for that organization called Runners 360. And he also, through Runners 360, he helps a lot of working athletes with their running. So welcome again, Shreyas. It's great to have you here on the podcast. So just for the benefit of the audience, can you tell us a bit about Runners 360 and what you do there and the philosophy of the Runners 360?
Thank you, Venki. It's a privilege to be interacting with someone who I really admire for the person that you are. Thank you for having me here. I like the term working elite. We always think, full-time athletes as elites, but I think people who work and also, do the sport are also as good as elites in terms of the kind of effort that we put in all spheres of life. So I think it's a great athlete concept. Yeah. So it's a great terminology, I'd say. So yeah, coming back to Runners 360, basically we are a typical running group where we believe that we want people to be fit enough to run. That's the motto. A lot of runners start running to get fit, which is awesome. But then over a period of time, I've realized that, running and fitness has to go in parallel. So that is what we do at Runners 360, where we provide a complete and a comprehensive program and customized plans, because we feel that every individual is unique in terms of their lifestyle, biomechanics, thought process, health conditions, and fitness levels. So we are actually a group which works out all 7 days, where we have about 3 strength and conditioning days and 3 running days, where on running days, people get their specific training plans, customized. We don't train as a group, but though we are a group, yet we, provide them individual training plans. So we have people across the world, about 60 odd people outside Bangalore and close to 100 people here. So that is what we do. And we are a team of 4 people. So I take care of all the running training plans, and I have 3 more people who take care of strength and conditioning and yoga. So in a small gist, that is what we do here.
Awesome. Runners 360, a complete
Exactly.
holistic program.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Shreyas, what is your weight now?
I'm currently around 65,
Okay.
and about like 3-4 kilos more than I'd like to be at my peak time.
But
yeah, so when I started out running, I was about 120, back in 2009.
Yeah.
So nudging 120, 121.
So you could say that you are half the person you were back in the day.
Half the person,
not
half
in a
the person physically, double the person, mentally. So yeah.
Exactly. Half the person physically, and
Yeah.
and grown a
Yeah.
lot over the years,
Yeah.
mentally
Yeah. Yeah.
learning
Yeah.
and teaching
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. 120 kilos. How did
Yeah.
you get there? What is the
Um,
story behind?
so basically, when I was born itself, I was 5 kilos. I was a big baby. So I took my mother's genetics. My mother was a huge person. All her brothers are all big. And though I was, overweight as a kid, but I was very active. I was like everyone. Though I wasn't fast, but I could play cricket all day. I could cycle all day. I started cycling when I was in just like about like 3 or 4 years, and just in the neighborhood, and I was cycling all day. But I mean, for me, overweight was never a constraint. Because I was really active, but I was not competitive. I could not be that first 3, 4 guy, in running or in any kind of a sport in school. But I could last. I had the endurance. But then in school, it's not about endurance. It's about who's the fastest, right?
Right.
So, and then I never thought I could be an athlete. I never thought about it. And then what happened? In college, I finished college. Still college, I was still okay. I was still doing about like 78 to 80 kilos, but still, that's still quite a bit for someone who's just about 20, 21. You're still not earning. And then what happened when I started working, it's basically, I didn't, get the career I desired, then started working in night shifts. So I took out all my frustration on food and indulgence, sleeping odd hours, and, kind of depression eating, a lot of emotional trauma that I went through, so on and so forth. I took it all out on food because food was my pleasure point, because I was not really happy with the kind of work I was doing. And other aspects also on life had gone for a toss. So I was at a point where I'll eat to death. That was my, motto. But then I got to a point where I couldn't even, eat properly, and then I realized being sick is very, very painful. So between 2007 and 2009, I put on like 40 kilos in those 2 years of work time. Yeah.
Wow. 2008 to
Massive.
2009.
2007 to 2009.
7 to
That's 2
9.
years.
Wow.
Yeah. 7 to 9. Yeah.
So you mentioned you were not able to eat. So what was
Yeah.
that?
So basically, what happened in 2008, 2009, I'd also had kidney stones. I had kidney stones and I was throwing up. I also had mild fatty liver
Okay.
there, and a lot of gastritis, because of, poor
Night
sleeping
shifts.
hours, working in night shifts. Yeah. And then anything I was taking, I had to take a tablet. And, my stomach used to ache so much in the night. I had to go rush to a hospital, put in an injection and then come back. That was becoming a repetitive process. I think it's like once in the midnight, I just took my bike out of pain. I just, fell on the roadside, throwing up, went to the hospital, got it injected. It was very bad.
Wow.
And then I came to a point where even eating just a raw salad, I was burping.
Wow.
And so I had got my lithotripsy done, kidney stone removed. I was on the operation the table, and then they have to put me on the ward table. The nurses could not lift me, and I had this urine bag tied down. So I had to take the urine bag and put it there because I can't walk, right? Because the lithotripsy and the stent they put in, and then peeing blood, all the infection is drained out, and then I had to, what do you say, move myself. And the sister and the nurses were surprised. It's like, this heavy guy is still able to move himself from the operation table to the regular, uh, uh, the
Yeah.
ward bed.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I felt something nice. I felt, okay, I'm still 120 kilos, and I still have the strength in me, and what's happening. And after that, I, got discharged from the hospital, sitting, with the stent in my stomach and just wondering what's happening in life. And I think that is where I really started thinking I need to do something about myself.
This was in 2009.
2009. Yeah, 2009. That is when it had come to me. I need to do something, but um, I was still not doing anything. And then what happened? I mean, I'll be just very, blunt on this. So, I mean, I was just around 22, 23, and at my home, there's already pressure to get married. I was like, what's happening? And so it was we were all going, to this typical arranged marriage setup because I'm the only child. They want me to get married very early because, my mom had passed away a long time back. It was just two of us at home, me and my father. So we needed that someone because I have
Someone to
no
take
siblings
care.
either.
Yeah.
Someone to be there for us, and so it was very strange where me and my father was sitting. My father he looked pretty young there, and the girl's mother came on and asked who's the boy.
Yeah. No.
Between me and my father, I was like, okay, this is too embarrassing. And then I came back home, and then still it was not there. The trigger was not there. And then finally, what happened was, I think finally one week, one. I mean, I think one we set it up. One engagement got set up. I think I also got engaged with that girl, like in a small ceremony. And then I realized that the girl agreed because her parents were forcing, not because she really liked me, because because I was so big and all that. Then I came to know that through the conversation, and she generally didn't like me. Of course, who would want to marry to like such an obese guy? And that engagement got cancelled and all that. Going through a lot of emotional stuff, and I just came back home. I don't know if you know this movie called as Varna Mayram. It's a Surya's movie. Surya, son of Krishna, it would come in Telugu also.
Correct.
So my friend had told me, watch this movie and just see if there's anything that will spark to you. And I think 2009, towards October, kind of a thing, I was just sitting, and there is a scene where he says that it may sound dramatic, but he says that when Surya is training to get into the army, he says that he always tells his juniors when there's a lot of pain internally, give pain to the body, it'll come out. So that is when I walked into a gym, and it all started from there.
Wow.
So 200 to 300 rupees was a monthly subscription,
right?
And manual treadmill, and elliptical and cycle. That's how it started. Yeah.
Okay, you were able to keep going. So the motivation was there by that time to keep working on it.
Yeah. What happened was the first treadmill. I've walked on treadmill, and I was as big as the treadmill. Those are very narrow treadmills, right? There was a pretty girl. I'm looking at. I mean, you're still young. I'm just looking at her. She's not even bothered. She's in her own zone, and she was running at 7 kmph. I thought she's an athlete, man. She's running so much, and I'm crawling at 3 kmph. I'm panting every 10 seconds. But I just kept at it. There's a lot of pain because you don't have proper shoes, proper gear. Your body is not able to take up weight. I was doing like 3 kilometers per hour on a treadmill. I was spending 1 per hour, and then I was spending 1 hour on elliptical and 1 hour on the cycle. So I was doing about like 3 hours, and then another half an hour, 45 minutes of lifting weights, low weights.
Mm-hmm.
Very not very high intense because I could not do high intense.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly I figured out my own diet. I stopped eating meat. I took out dairy, fried food. I figured out my own stuff. My instructor, the general instructor, used to give me a little bit of tips on nutrition and all that. And then October to April, was 6 months. And it was also, I was turning 23. I don't know, I was, for some reason, I mean, that time was no phone. I still had a button phone, even that I switched off because I didn't want any calls from friends or messages. And I went on treadmill. I somehow, sprinted a bit, walked a bit, and just, finished 4 kilometers in 30 minutes. I think that was my first proper run. And that 4 became 4.2, and then 4.5, and then finally 1 hour, 8 kilometers. And then slowly, it just got evolved.
Wow. So through this journey, you were also seeing progress in terms of weight loss?
Yeah. I mean, from day one itself, for me, that was the biggest incentive, because I always feel that my body treats me the way I treat it. If I do something good, it'll do good for me. And if you do something bad for it, it'll do bad for me. It'll show me instant result. Right. So what was happening was I used to measure in the morning, before the workout and after workout. And I always used to see like a 2 kilo difference because I'm pouring sweat. I'm losing a lot of water. Right. And when I used to come back the next day, I used to see about 100, 200 grams. down from like, 120 to, 119.8, 119.6, sometimes even, 1 kilo less. And that was my biggest incentive. So I knew that if I work out, I can definitely lose weight. And I think in the first year itself, I lost about like 30 kilos. That was massive. Every month, initially, I was losing about like 3 to 4 kilos.
Right.
And then as with time, it became a little more challenging, but eventually ended up 30 kilos less, in less than a year.
Wow. That is pretty
Yeah.
awesome. So this was, so by that time you were in maybe 2010 somewhere, right?
2010, yeah, 2010 end. I was already fitting into, from 44 waist, I'd come down to at least 36. Still pulling, but I still felt good. I'm still at 36 waist now. So
Yeah,
it was a good feeling. Yeah.
right. So from there, how, what was the progression like from there? The initial, usually the initial weight is easier to
Yeah.
lose than the
Yeah.
later kilos, right? So
Yeah.
how did?
Yeah. Um, so I think 2010 I lost so much. Again in 2011 also I lost about 20 kilos again, but I was still I started doing a lot more weights also then. I was pushing in some weights, and I started looking at a lot more better eating.
Mhm.
Intermittent fasting. I already started intermittent fasting by then.
Mhm.
And then what happened in 2011, I ran a 10K race. I ran a 10K and I finished it. I think it was my first 10K race. I was already surprised. I did it under 15 minutes because by the time I'd already lost close to about 40 kilos by then. And then I got ambitious. Then I signed up for a full marathon and I broke down. I was the last person. That too, I ran in KTM and I was roasted at the end of it. Then I realized that to run better, I have to go back and then lose some more weight because at 80 kilos you can't be running a marathon. It's going to be damaging. And then further on, I started putting structure into my training. Until then my agenda was to run 10, 12 every day. And then I started doing like kind of a tempo run on a Tuesday, a long run on a Saturday, and a recovery run on a Sunday. And also I got my cycle. So Sundays I used to go do a little bit of 100, 120, 100 to 150 kind of a bit of cycling. So all that came together, and I think by 2012 end I was already close to 60 kilos by 2012 end.
Wow.
Yeah, close to
So
60, lighter than this. Yeah, lighter than this.
wow. So KTM was when?
2011 September
2011 September. You were 80
was my
kilos.
first marathon.
Your
80 kilos. Yeah,
first marathon.
first marathon. Yeah,
Wow.
5 hours 56 minutes.
Wow.
I was roasted. Out of 102, I think I still remember I was a 97th person.
Wow.
And
And
I had
yeah, KTM is one of the toughest courses also, right?
toughest trails. Yeah, I couldn't walk for the next 2 days. I was roasted. I was tired. I had chafing, cuts, and all that because you're still not ready for a marathon. I had episodes of throwing up um, because you don't know, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So from 10K to first marathon,
direct,
direct.
direct, direct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2011. Yeah,
Yeah. Awesome. So from there, you progress. You put structure in place and started,
yeah,
working out in
yeah,
a more structured
yeah,
way,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
continued your diet and
yeah,
everything, and
yeah,
came down to
yeah, yeah.
2012. In
2012, yeah.
2012,
By the end of 2012, I was already close to. I think 2012. I think I was already running a 330, close to a 330 marathon by then. By December, I still remember. One of
yeah.
the midnight marathons. I was already
And
running close to 330, and I was close to around 62, 63, hovering
right.
up and down there.
So
But I was at the edge. Yeah,
yeah, your weight also came down to half, and also the marathon time
massively,
also like came
massively
down to like
to
60%
2.5
of it.
hours. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, easily. Yeah,
that is amazing, man. What a
yeah, yeah,
journey. What a journey.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very inspirational journey.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the body image when
Yeah,
you were that big.
yeah.
How were how did you see yourself, and how did others see you?
See, right from childhood, I did have a lot of inferiority complex. Okay, and because, like I said, I was not great in anything. I was academically very average. I was that, you know, about that 70-75% kind of guy. And in whole of my school, I couldn't speak English properly. Though I studied in a British school, I could not speak English properly then. And I was still, like not the first guy either of the sport, nothing. I think I'm the only person who didn't get any medal throughout my schooling.
Not even
And
participation medal.
no participation medal at school, right? So nothing, they put me in boxing, nothing happened because I thought big guy will go hit someone. So even there also you have to be agile, because our school did have boxing, because my principal was from the British Army, and the very high discipline. And even for college, everybody was taking science, and I went into commerce. I didn't get into the best of the colleges. So I was like, okay, I mean, no great image. Okay, and then at the same time, a lot of incidents were happening at home. I lost my mother, my uncle, and my grandfather in the span of 3 to 4 years. The very close people in my life. So I was just messed up as a person. You don't even know what's happening. And friend circle was also not that great. And economically we're not that great. That is why I said, I just was, there was no point, there was no purpose. And then I turned up when I used to go for interviews also, because since I was not, fitting into proper clothes, I always look shabby. I always look shabby, because formals were not fitting in. I had to always wear loose shirts because I wear, proper shirt. My stomach used to pop out. And when I was doing those night shifts, one of the reasons why I didn't, change my job during that point of time was I was not confident to go give an interview. Though there's abundance of opportunities, I was just not confident. I had double chin, and, almost dark circles near the eyes because of no proper sleep. A lot of acne because of the kind of food I was eating. You can see the marks that is here. And yeah, very unpolished. I mean, like totally not confident about myself at all. Yeah.
Right. So that is there. It'll also, in my experience, we tend to kind of project, what people are thinking onto us, and tend to kind of react that way, right? He's just another fat dude, and he's nobody kind of thing, and that we tend to internalize, and the spiral just gets worse and worse. And
totally, absolutely, yeah.
And
because nobody bets on you.
no, not even yourself.
Nobody bets on you, not even yourself. I never could bet myself on anything. I was so dejected. I felt so incompetent, so underconfident about myself. Like, I'm like, this is it. What next?
How did your relationship with food change from then to now?
My first thing is, the dinner is something I stopped. There's a time I used to eat like 4 chapatis, 5 chapatis. Like when the weight loss also was happening, I was able to shift the job as well. So late dinner means, next morning, you can't poop, right, properly. So, and I enjoyed being empty stomach. Okay. Then I realized if I didn't poop properly, I will see 1 kilo extra on the weighing scale. So my first change was, having early dinner. All right. It's not that I skipped dinner. I used to have before sunset, which means that I also need to eat light. So I started reading about fibrous foods, so that, you clean up the stomach properly. Like I said, I was also looking at, detoxing, because I put in a lot of food into my system. So I was reading about, a lot of going on high fibrous foods, because, they're very good to clean the stomach up. So I paid a lot of attention to eating a lot of fruit and eating a lot of vegetables and eating a lot of legumes. So this is was the biggest change in how I approach food. And like I said, I was out of meat and I was out of eggs and all of that. And then I discovered a lot more variety in terms of foods. Like I started going to that time Namdari salad bar was there. So I started discovering a lot of salads.
Okay.
Um, and um, and yeah, uh,
So basically,
eating as close to
yeah. So basically, from eating to kind of run away from, feeling bad or feeling down, or eating
yeah,
to lift the mood up, you have
yeah,
started eating to nourish the body just enough
yeah, yeah,
to take
yeah,
care of your
yeah,
needs.
yeah. So the main difference was when I was eating prior to this journey, I was only the food was only about tasting here.
Yeah.
Okay, once this was satisfied, it was not feeling good here. But
Mhm.
then what was happening was it was boring for the tongue. But the moment it went inside, I start feeling good, and no matter what, like I could eat as much as vegetables or much as legumes or much as fruits. I never felt heavy or I never felt I was gaining weight.
Mhm.
So that gave me the liberty to eat full. I never starved. I ate properly. I never starved. That's when I realized that being full doesn't mean you have to eat a lot of crap. You can eat healthy food. You can still be still be full, and still be healthy and drop the excess weight.
Excellent. That's so basically that relationship with the food changed over a period of
Changed.
time.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where it
Yeah.
kind of became.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's your view on fad diets? I mean, I don't know if we can call fad diets, but there are a
Yeah.
lot of diets,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is your view on them?
See, of course, the first thing that came out was the vegan diet. Especially with in the running community. That with the Scott Jurek book, the first exposure to diet was a vegan diet. And since I'd quit meat and I'm not really fond of dairy, it was already out of my this thing. Um, but with time, I always put 5 points when it comes to diet. The first thing what I believe is, when you go to farms, all right, especially the regular farms, they stink of chemicals. Honestly, kidding, they stink of chemicals. Okay, when I go to Malur, which is my in-laws' place, and I see how they farm, and I was shocked. So I try to source it as organic as possible. That's the first thing. Doesn't matter if you're going to eat milk, dairy, or whatever. First, keep it chemical free. Try to keep it in original form. The second thing is, eat local. So I don't eat wheat. I don't eat wheat. I don't eat pastas. I don't eat maida. So I'm between Karnataka and Andhra, so which is known for a lot of millets.
Right.
Okay, millets, rice, variety of rices. That is the second thing, and the third thing is I ensure that at least 50 to 60% is a lot of fruit, nuts, and legumes.
Mhm.
So on a typical day, unless it's a hard run, I try to replenish with the carbs. So if not on a typical day, I would eat a lot of fruits and legumes in the morning. Like yesterday was my rest day. So, and then in the afternoon I eat, like if today millet, tomorrow I eat a ragi, day after I eat white rice and then brown rice. And then in the evening I still, make a salad or, eat some corn or, whatever is available in the season. But I don't eat grain in the evening. I eat something that's has decent amount of carbs and also some good of protein.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, the final thing is I ensure that there's at least 14 to 16 hours gap, between my dinner and my breakfast.
Okay.
So that's pretty much about it. So I have nothing against, meat or, dairy and all that. I think everybody um, uh, know their bodies well, right? What works for you well. Because
Right.
when I was eating a lot of meat, I used to feel a lot more constipated,
Mhm.
like I used to spend a lot of time in the bathroom, right?
Right.
And I used to feel a lot of irritation in the body also.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why I quit meat. I mean, there are other reasons as well. I mean, considering how much it's impacting the environment, that's a different
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
But personally, yeah, I think it's important to understand your body, eat local, but keep it chemical free. Like you
Right.
could still be a vegan and eat maida. You could still be a vegan and drink a lot of Coke. You can
Yeah.
still be a vegan and eat all your veg puff and whatnot, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They're
Yeah.
still
So it depends
vegan.
on making. Yeah. Is um yeah, most likely. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if somebody put some ghee. Or my wife, without knowing, she puts ghee in the sambar. So I'm not like, oh,
Yeah.
go be a. I'm not a vegan Nazi. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when I go to a function, when somebody puts a piece of paneer, I'm like, okay, it's
Yeah.
fine,
Yeah.
right? Like Sunday, we had gone somewhere and they put a paneer curry. I wouldn't want to waste it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just eat it, and it's totally okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it is about the lifestyle change rather than
Yeah.
something that you do temporarily, right?
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you do temporarily, the results also will be temporary. And
Temporary. Yeah.
if you do a lifestyle change,
Yeah.
it's also that you see the results in a more permanent basis, right? More ongoing basis.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. If it's not sustainable, then what's the point? Then
Yeah.
it's a fad. Right.
Yeah, so that's there,
Yeah.
that's where it becomes a fad. If it
Yeah.
is, not a change that you are making into your lifestyle,
Yeah.
by exploring what is the thing
Yeah.
that is working for you, what is
Yeah.
sustainable over a long time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
integrate into your lifestyle, then it is
Yeah.
perfect. Uh,
Perfect. Yeah. Totally.
yeah,
Yeah. It should be sustainable, and also it should also fit in the pocket, because there are
absolutely.
many foods out there. When somebody says, you have to eat so many almonds, somebody said you have to eat 15, 20 almonds, then I'll be spending 1,000 rupees every week just on almonds.
Right,
So you should also see to that, can you, even if you lose your job, can you, do you have enough in you to sustain this kind of food, right?
right, right.
You can't. I know these blueberries are excellent in antioxidants. I just went and saw. I mean, so much is like 600 rupees. I said, no, no, no. I can manage without antioxidant. And I don't know if you know this nalikai, the small nalikai. So my neighbor opposite my house, they have it. I was telling my wife, let's go check and let's get them.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
right. So
that's where the source something locally, so that
yeah,
they are sustainable as well, right?
the sustainable. Yeah,
They
true,
are cost effective and sustainable,
true,
and
true.
equally, or maybe sometimes even more, better than all these fancy,
Better. Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, true.
Great. So what's your take on low carb diet for endurance? How does it work, or what's your experience with it?
Uh, Again, I think balance is key. I wouldn't say moderation. I think balance is key. See, nobody knows how to eat properly. That's for sure.
Yeah,
All right. I
right,
don't think anybody knows this is the right diet, because we've been evolving, from years. Some people say go on keto because our ancestors ate keto diet, and for how long did ancestors live? Right? Who knows what kind of diseases they died?
yeah,
And today suddenly they're saying that carbohydrates are the reason for obesity and so on and so forth. But if you look at primarily a lot of South Indians, especially Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Andhra, um, if not for the sedentary lifestyle, I think we're still okay. Primarily rice eating, and we're totally fine. If you go towards any villages, they eat this much amount of rice, this much
right.
amount, right?
And they're still
But
lean like a,
I lean like this, yeah.
yeah.
Um, so I think again, finding the balance is key. Eat good quality carbs.
Mhm. Yeah.
At least avoid anything that comes from the shelf. I mean, of course, once in a while it's okay. All
Mhm.
right, but um, yeah, just keep a fine balance and eat a lot of fiber.
Right. Balanced.
Yeah. And it is something that I think only we need to find out about it. Like I don't prefer to eat carbs, like grains, especially in second of the day, because I know I feel very heavy.
Mhm.
And many of my friends, they eat 3 biryanis a day and they're absolutely fine. Like if I go tell him, hey, no, this is wrong, he'll be like, go look at yourself. You're eating lesser carbs than me, and just go see yourself. So it is very important for me to look at myself
Right.
and not really what do you say, follow something that's already there. Take the best of everything, try to understand, and then execute it.
Yeah. Experiment what works for you. Try out
Yeah, yeah,
different things and
yeah.
find out what
True,
works for you, because there
true.
is no one thing that works for everyone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
We
yeah,
are such a
yeah,
varied
yeah, yeah, yeah,
species that
yeah.
depending on where you live and what is
True,
available, we have been
true,
over the
true,
centuries trying so many
true.
things. Yeah.
True. Kipchoge drinks 2 liters of tea every day with a lot of sugar, and 2 liters of tea. Like, in the morning they're eating tea and bread. In the afternoon they have ugali. In the night they have ugali. You talk to them about B12, they will know they're not bothered. You talk to them about veganism. No, because, cattle is a fundamental source of African way of living. Now, if I go ask him to take chia seeds, he'll just Look at me. It's like, what is that? Right? And Kipchoge doesn't take a single supplement, by the way. Like no protein shakes, none of it, except for electrolytes for running.
Wow.
And, and most of them are the way they are.
Yeah, 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 definitely. So just experiment and work, find out what works for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Talking about electrolytes, so how do you take care of nutrition and hydration during long training runs or races?
This is something, I'll tell you something very unpopular. This is something that does not go well with the running community. And when people ask this question, I'm very blunt about it. In most of my training runs, I don't take anything unless it's like a 35K run, which is hardly anything. It's probably like, 5, 6 times a year. I use a couple of gels. I'm not fond of any electrolyte drink. I just don't like them. Only recently I started taking Mortine before pre-run. I take the Mortine mix, the carb mix. It's not electrolyte. It's more like a carb mix,
Right.
like 1 hour before. I just drink that. And then for a marathon, I do like a gel at, 8, 16, 24, 32, I eat half because your stomach is already, not doing great. And at 36, I eat the rest half and I only take water all through. That's it. So you will not see anything electrolyte in my life. But I also get a lot of, once in a year, I get the electrolyte test done. I think the numbers are fine. And they say sodium is in the border.
Yeah.
I just add a little bit of salt to my diet and that's about it.
Okay. So this Morton, you said, is it available here?
No, it's not available here.
Okay.
So I tried many local gels. I tried, I just don't want to pick up any brands. I tried many gels. It just didn't work well. And the Huma gels really worked well for me. But then the Morton came out. It's a little expensive. I think one gel is about like 275 INR.
Right.
But like I said, my necessity is very less. For a half marathon, I would just use 1 gel. For a full marathon, I would use about 4.
Okay. Basically, you use them predominantly for races.
Races, yeah. So like I said, even for a marathon, I don't run, if I'm running I don't do hard runs more than 30 kilometers. Like I would just need 1 gel. And up to like 20, 25 in training running, if I'm doing hard, I wouldn't need it. For easy long runs up to 30, 35, I would just do water only. Right. So, yeah.
Nice. So what are the things that, you've done to come from 5:56 marathon time to now 2 hours 59 is your best, right?
Yeah.
So sub 3. So from sub 6 hours to sub 3 hours.
Sub 3 hours, yeah.
What are the things that you have done to get there in terms of training?
So I think, so this is a very long journey. My journey is actually split into 2 bits. So then what happened when I ran that 6 hours and I came to 3:30, I was running I was putting in huge mileage. Every Saturday I used to run. Those were the times when we were like the David Gogginses, like mind over body, mind over body, mind over body. We'll push through it, hitting, 120, 130 kilos a week, not really foam rolling, not really stretching and all that. But there was frequent, issues of IT band and pains and fatigue and all that. And age was on my side. I was not, really feeling that and I used to push through pain. And I'm still doing, 340, 335, 135, 136 for a half marathon. And then what happened was, I think in 2015, I had a bike fall, just like, a week before Bengaluru Marathon. I think that was one of my fittest I was. And then I was off the bike and then I was just checking my left knee. There was a nice hole. I could see the bone and all that. The flesh had come out. So, and then I went to the hospital. It's called a crush wound. Luckily, nothing happened to my ligaments or nothing happened to the bone, but a little bit of, this much, about like 6 stitches kind of thing had come out. And I was like petrified. What just happened? It was stuck to the pant and all that. And then the doctor did all the tests and he said, thankfully, nothing has happened, though that the slight crush is there. And then he stitched me up. And then for 1 month, I was just limping and walking. And I had to work from the bed because I could not sit straight. So I think by 2015 end, after 4 weeks, I slowly started gaining a little bit of momentum. But then I started getting a lot of weird pains. My neck used to start hurting, and then I started paining my arms, weird pains in my leg, and all that. Everything just kind of came together, and that is when I went and did a MRI, because I want to know why is this happening. And then they found there was an incidental finding of syrinx. Syrinx is basically a kind of very very what do you say? They say 0.000008 kind of a disorder kind of a thing. Nobody knows why it happens. It could be because of genetics, or it could be because of some trauma that you've fallen down. And if that grows over a period of time, that can destroy your spinal cord and your nervous system, and then you'll be disabled. There's no treatment for it. That's what they say. There's no effective treatment for it. And then there is from my cervical all the way till my lower back, I have a thin fluid, which is very unnatural. And that kind of took me off. I was like, what the hell, And I was kind of low again. I was kind of, again, another period of low. Now I'm married. My daughter was about 3-4 years, People at home, suddenly, they send the reports, to people all over. And then again, I gained about good 18 kilos again. I put on massive weight. And that time my work wasn't going great, because I was not able to sit for a long time. I don't know, was it because of that fall that triggered all this? And then I had a disc bulge here. Then I had, 2 disc bulges here. 2016 was a lot of struggle again. I started, eating mindlessly. Mindless eating. Like, 2 balls of rice. Again, my dinner came back into it. And that 1 year was kind of hard. And then I finally, 2016, what I did was I just wanted to, take a break from work, because I was not really doing well. My performance, from exceeding expectations, it had come down to meet expectation. Then I knew, let's face the fact, I could not deliver because I was not able to sit for long. And then I took a break. Then I was really thinking what to do. And that's when I actually also started coaching. Then I took a six-month sabbatical, so basically no salary. And I started coaching then. By 2016, March is when I started coaching. And then in 2017, I'd already quit my job by then, because I know coaching was somewhat, I started seeing money. And 2017, I went to the Himalayas, and then I could not even carry like a 5 kg backpack because of the back pain. And then I came back, I started working with a lot of physios. I went back to my, drawing board. It's very difficult to come back again. You have to dig deep again, but then I started feeling nice, no work pressure now. It's off. Now I had time for myself. I said, I will not let this do to myself. And then I started losing weight again. Then that time I actually saw Dr. Arvind Bhattija. He gave me a lot of confidence so he made me do further tests, because I known he's been the cycling thing, and he would understand a sportsman better and all that. So I met him, and then he said that he made me do another brain MRI and all that. He said 99.99, nothing's going to happen to you. You will be absolutely fine. So that assurance gave me a lot of confidence. So from there, I met a chiropractor. And then slowly, with losing weight, with a lot of physiotherapy, I was still running. I was still doing 8Ks and 10Ks, but I was taking like 610, 620 per kilometer. I just completely gone. And again, the entire journey started all over again. And I said, if I get another opportunity, I will not let go of it. I really want to run a marathon. And again, by 2018, I think I was already hitting, 45, 46 minute 10K. And by the year end, I was already hitting like a 125, 126 half marathon. Again, lost all that weight. And swimming helped me a lot. Swimming, chiropractic, a bit of chiro work, all the releases and everything started opening up my body. Because I think that 1 month I was sitting like everything had come in like this, I was like this. So I started working on my posture. And one major thing that really changed during that time was I started enjoying the power of waking up in the morning, at 3 o'clock, 3:30, taking cold showers, just sitting, spending time, chanting some mantras, which I was asked to chant. Gave me a lot of faith that, the future could be better. And it was from there it started. And then by 2018 end, I was already hitting, solid paces for a half marathon. And then I wanted to run 2019 Mumbai Marathon, but after 30 kilometers, my hip used to, uh, I don't know, I could not move my left leg after 30. It used to get jammed because I had a chronic SI joint inflammation, because of poor mobility.
Right.
And then suddenly from nowhere, got in touch with Swami Raut, and he said, in 3 weeks you'll run, marathon. I said, I've not run beyond 30. He said, you will run. And my last marathon was in 2015 and 2019, in the almost close to 4 years, and I got a marathon PB of 319. And then another from 330 to 319. Again in a month, I did a 311. And in that year, I ran about 10 marathons, and my latest was a 259.
This was 2019.
19, yeah, 2019. Between 19 and 20, that season.
Wow, 10.
Yeah, 10, yeah, 10 marathons. Yeah.
And this PB of 259 is in that.
Yeah.
Okay, where was
it? In that, yeah. This was in Kolkata, February, last Feb.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I started doing, because the moment I think he saw me and he was surprised. He said, well, why haven't you done a sub 3? I was like, are you kidding me? Nobody, like sub 3 is like, we know it's not easy, because it's just that 0.5% people just do it. I said no. He said no, you have it in you. With so many imbalances, you're running a 127, 128 half. All you need is to bring in that balance, know how to load it properly. And I think it was a big revelation for me from there on. He made me understand my body better, runner's body better, how to engage the forces, because we were all running only from legs. We never thought about hips, core, and none of it.
Yeah.
And trust me, I didn't train really hard. It just happened.
Right.
It just happened. Yeah. So without much effort.
Just doing the right things. Correcting
the right things.
Correcting the imbalances, taking care of the strength and conditioning and things.
That's it.
And rest of the training is as usual.
Yeah. More than better times, it was just efficiency. I was like, okay, even after, when I ran the 259, I was like, I still feel that it's not, I'm still at 80%, 85% effort. It's not that I was trying too hard. It just happened. Because I feel that, I think if you go all out, I don't want to saturate too soon. There should be some scope to improve. Right. So we'll see how it goes.
Right. So there are two things that I want to touch here, right? Coming back from injuries now,
yeah,
and taking the long-term view as well. So first, let's talk about coming back from injuries. So you have seen, you have had many injuries, like that back injury that you just mentioned, multiple disc bulges, that hip injury, and all these kept you off for nearly 4 years from your, doing a marathon or something. What are the things that people with injuries can do to get back and do what they love?
The first thing, the moment we get injured, we always take time off. And what do we need time off? We gain weight. First thing that happened to me. Mm-hmm. It's the worst thing that you can do when you're injured, because you're putting in a lot more load. Second thing is you rest rather than working around the injury. Third thing is self-diagnosis. It's the worst thing that you can do. Do not ask do not take advices from people who are not experts. See a good physiotherapist. All right. For me, I work with multiple physiotherapists. All right. And finally, you have to find someone who's going to work for you. Okay. And also nutrition. Eat very good foods. Foods that reduce inflammation. Foods that pump in good blood into your joints and muscles. Very important to recover. So injury time is a great time to maintain fitness through nutrition, is what I feel. Because now when you're running, you can still indulge in that extra idli or extra biryani if you want. But that is the time you have to be really mindful, because the more the weight you gain, which a lot of people do, 90% of people do when they get injured, you know what? It's going to be that much difficult to come back. Use cross training, right. Go, if you're a runner, if you can't run, use an elliptical. Still keep that cardio thing going. Do yoga, or do an aggressive rehab program. but never gain weight and never lose the strength of your muscle, and never,
Mhm.
um, you know, because you're going to undo a lot of effort that you've been putting in.
Right. That's a great point. That point where you said maintain the fitness through your
Yeah,
food,
yeah,
and also add, do whatever you can to
yeah,
maintain that, be it
yeah,
yoga
yeah,
or whatever. If you are
yeah,
not able to
yeah.
run, do something else that keeps you going. Great point. Great point. And coming back to that, the other thing that I wanted to talk about, taking the long-term view in
Yeah.
terms of cycling, training or racing. How important is it in your view?
Um, I mean, the long-term objective is to never run out of the joy of running, because running is a very soul thing, is what I feel. So I want to keep running till my time comes. And the second thing is, I would always say that to my runners that always look at longevity. You should be able to run even till you're 70 or 80. You should be able to enjoy a run. Do not take training so seriously. I tell my people, don't give 100%. Though I put in a plan, I said, no, don't give 100%. I do not want to be exhausted. We are not competing with Kipchoge. Kipchoge has a mental coach. He gets 3 massages a week. He doesn't have to worry about his family, none of it. Everything is taken care of. Okay, but here my every training funda is, after every training run, after every strength workout, I do not want anyone to be exhausted. I want them to feel rejuvenated so that they can carry out their work better. They can spend a little more time effective with the family. But if you're going to get exhausted and if you're going to take this stress into that, it's going to screw up the entire thing. There's no point doing it. So that's the first. These are the three primary things I integrate into my training, and I ask my people also to see if they can adopt this: joy of running, longevity, and feel rejuvenated after every workout.
Wow, great points. Great points.
So this is something I learned from. I really admire Kipchoge in many ways. Why is Kipchoge? I think in Berlin Marathon, when he did a 2:01:39, I think they asked Paula Radcliffe, how come Kipchoge is improving so much that no other runner is improving from marathon to marathon? She said that Kipchoge does not give 100% into anything. He says his training is only 80%, race day only 90%. So that is why he says, we'll see how far this goes. He says, I'm not done. Right.
Yeah,
So the moment you go 100%, you're done. You know yourself that 100% is done. Right.
right.
So there should always be that scope to improve for longevity. Right.
Yeah. Some great points for all the working athletes to take home and think about. So I want to talk now about something we all struggle with, right? Some, from time to time, motivation and drops in motivation. How do you deal with them? It is something that is
Oh,
very, very common, right?
yeah. Why do you want to be motivated? Are you motivated to eat? Are you motivated to sweep? Running, exercise is like sweeping, right? You
Yeah,
have to sweep every day. You have to eat every day, right? You have to wash your clothes every day. You have to wash your vessels every day. You don't need motivation to that. Make running as a part of your exercise, a part of, I'm not saying running, make exercise as a part of your lifestyle. You don't need motivation to do it. People waste a lot of willpower in just waking up in the morning. They say, I don't have willpower. You don't need willpower to do these things. Don't waste your willpower on this. Be in autopilot mode.
right.
Like you wake up at 4 o'clock, it's just a split second. The moment you wake up, magic will happen. Motivation will not live for long. So when I started coaching, I used to call people, hey, why have you not done this? Now I do not call anyone. I do not follow up anyone. You've done it. It is your life. You do it. Okay. Because I know that if you're going to expect motivation from someone, it's short stayed,
Absolutely.
right? They will not stick for long. All right. And you need to figure yourself out why you are doing this. That is important. As long as the why is intact, I don't think people will need motivation, but they do not have that. Why people need motivation, and if you need motivation to run, you better not do running. Go find something else that really excites you.
Yeah, absolutely great point again. Absolutely great point again. So, to kind of conclude this, what are some of the tips you would give working athletes who want to do well at work as well as the sport that they love?
Okay, the first thing, I sleep 8 hours. Okay, if you have between 2 hours training and 7 hours sleep, choose 1 hour training, 8 hours sleep. I was listening to an interesting podcast by Mark Allen, and he says that people who are working, all right, their training hours is also as good as the training hours of the elites. So, for example, now let's say people who do brevets, all right, they do a 200-kilometer brevet. They spend about 10 hours, all right.
Right.
When they do a 300-hour, I'm saying average, they spend about 15 hours.
Yeah.
Go see the elites, how much are they cycling?
Yeah.
The intensity is so fast, the training is so fast, they probably wouldn't spend more than 15-20 hours, on an entire training cycle, right?
Right.
Kipchoge says, Kipchoge does a 100-mile week. He's probably just for 100 miles, he'll probably be just taking about, let's say about, I think, 10 to 12 hours of just running time.
Right.
I mean, maybe something around that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty much,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and whereas I know people, on Saturdays, they run 3 hours, 4 hours. On Sunday, they do another 2 hours of cycling. And the people that I train, I know their training volume in terms of hours is as good as the elites. Okay, but they're not resting well. For me, the point is, are you resting well? Are you recovering well? Are you sleeping well? You don't have to run a marathon. You don't even have to run a half marathon if you don't have the time cushion. Put in a good 5K and a 10K program, which can fit into your that 1 hour training. And if done rightly, even that will excite you, in many ways. If you want to do like a full marathon or a half marathon, find the time of the year where, your work is not busy, your family, is cooperating with you. If your work and family does not allow you to do those things, then there is no point. You can't have the best of everything. You need to compensate on, one thing or the other, to succeed at optimum level at whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And with regard to nutrition, that's with regard to training. Like I said, sleep is important.
Recovery.
Recovery is important. And your training load, also how much you load, be very aware of that. Second thing is, do not do meaningless challenges. I see a lot of meaningless challenges happening, run excess days and all that. Do challenges that is good for you in the long run, like at least do three strength sessions a week, 3 running sessions, 3 running days a week. And one day just do nothing, probably just sit or go for a swim, go for a hike, enjoy the other aspects as well. And the third thing is with regard to nutrition, like I said, no matter what you eat, at least 50 to 60%, put in a lot of fruits, vegetables, and legumes. And remaining 30-40% can be, whatever you, prefer, your preference, your choice of, carbohydrates. And the fourth one, I would say, always try to do things that are sustainable in the long run. Okay. Financially, in terms of family approval, and also mentally, which you think you can take it for the long run. And that's pretty much about it. If it's not sustainable, like for example, I know a lot of people say, I will go to a strength coach only for 3 months. It's not going to help you for 3 months. Right. You should do something that you think you can sustain for long. All right. And then learn from there and see if you can keep it going for your life. But if you're just going to do strength for 3 months and then not going to do the rest of your life, then there's no point. Right? You go somewhere, learn something, and see if you can keep it for the rest of your life going. And that is where there'll be something meaningful to your life.
Correct. Again, including it into a lifestyle rather than, doing it for the short term.
So, exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. So short-term things will give you short-term results. Something that you included over a long-term, integrate into your lifestyle would give you longer-term results.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Man, this was amazing. 1 hour went by so quickly, and really, really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for spending the time and coming and sharing your journey, your experience with of coaching working athletes. What are the things that you have learned over these 10, 11 years of this journey? It's amazing that you were able to learn so much and grow so much while physically you have uh, become half really. Thank you again for coming and sharing these insights.
Thank you, Venki. Some amazing questions. I think it was a good time for me to reflect as well. Thanks a lot.